we go before the Lord with prayer. We bow our head. This evening, our Heavenly Father, we do thank you for your love, your kindness, your mercy, and your grace. Lord, we thank you for another day uprising, Lord, and we're able to see, walk, and talk, God. We thank you for your love and kindness and your tender mercy, God. Lord, tonight as we go forth, Lord, word our mouth, give us what to say and how to say it, God. Lord, help us to be what you would have us to be in your word on tonight, God. We only want to do and say what you would have us to say. So, God, our mouth, God. Lord, let it be where someone will receive and be able to even gain from this word on tonight, God. We love you. We bless you. We magnify your son's name. Amen. Good afternoon again. It's good to see everyone. We won't be too long tonight. We are going to be in the book of Deuteronomy, the first chapter. We will be reading 4 scriptures on tonight, the 26th, the 34th, the 35th, and the 37th verse on tonight. So you could turn your Bibles there. The first verse we will read will be the 26th, and it says, "Notwithstanding, ye will not go up or rebel against the commandment of the Lord your God." The 34th verse say, "And the Lord heard the voice of your words and will wroth and swear, saying," 35th, "Surely there shall not one of these men of this evil generation see that good land which I swear to give your father." And the 37th verse said, "And also the Lord will anger with me for your sake, saying, thou shalt not go in thither," which he was talking to Moses at the time. A little background on this is that in the first chapter, the children of Israel had made it to the place where God had promised them the land where they would inherit, and that they would have, that he had promised the forefather, their fathers, the thing of this land. And they had came through the different great and bad places in the wilderness and everything. God had brought them through all these places, and now they was at this place called Kadesh Barnea, Kadesh Barnea, and this is where God had told them that they were to come to, and it was by the mountain of the Amorites, and the Amorites was more of their enemies, or the people that they was kind of afraid of. So on tonight, we're going to start at the 26th verse. Well, let's just start in the first chapter. Deuteronomy. I'm not, can y'all hear me? Can everybody hear me? Okay. So my wife was asking me where I was reading it. So, okay, hold on one second. She threw me off here. Okay. So my subject on tonight, I would like to talk about be careful what you say and be careful what you do. Be careful what you say and be careful what you do. It's good to see everybody on tonight. During this time of pandemic, with the COVID-19 virus going on. It's causing quite a few uproars of comments and people being unsettled, people being impatient, people trying to make something happen. But in the midst of all the things that we're trying to do and accomplish, being unsettled, we have to be careful what we say and be careful what we do. Because we as Christians, there is a place of etiquette or a place of integrity that God requires that we stay in, or a place of trusting Him and being faithful and walking out the Christian walk that we should be walking. So even during this time of turmoil, this time of panic, or this time of not being able to move around like we want to, we still have to watch what we're saying and watch what we're doing, because God still hears what we say and what we do. Tonight, the children of Israel was at a place where God had told them, this is where I need you to go to. This is the place where I need you to go. I had promised your father I would give you a place that's flowing with milk and honey, and this would be your land. And in Deuteronomy, for you that just came on, Deuteronomy 1, the first chapter, we're going to be in the second chapter, but we're going to be in the first chapter, 26, but at the beginning, Moses was in charge of the Israelites, and they came to this place, and Moses made a very good decision, because he said, how about if we go and scout out the land first? Which is good. We all know that there's time when we have to evaluate things. We look at things and we say, okay, let's check it out first before we make a jump, before we make a move. Let's check it out and make sure it's where we need to be at. So that was good. That was a real good thing. So he sent out 12 spies, or 12 people, one from each tribe, to go and scout out the land. So when they came back, of course, they had good reports of the land was plentiful. You know, they brought back some of the fruit and different things to even prove that it was a good land. So, you know, sometimes we get to a place where we're saying, okay, this is good, but then we have another part in our mind. We might not say it, but we're still saying, but Lord, I don't know about this. And that's why we say, be careful what you say and be careful what you do. Because when God gives you a command, or He gives you something that you're supposed to be doing, we have to watch how we respond. Even if we don't let it come out of our mouth, we have to watch how we respond to what God has told us to do. So they had came back and they had said, okay, yeah, the land is good. But then later on that evening, which start the 26th verse, it say, now withstanding you would not go up. Moses was saying, you would not go up, but rebel against the commandment of the Lord your God. It say, and ye murmured in your tent, 27th verse, say, you murmured in your tent and said, because the Lord hated us, He brought us forth out of this land of Egypt to deliver us into the hands of the Amorite, to destroy us. So in other words, they open their mouth against God. We get to a place sometime where we might not see the handwork of God, or where He's taking us, or what He's doing with us. And there's time when we might say, well, Lord, did you bring us out here to kill us? Did you bring me this far to leave me? Or why is this happening to me? Or why is that happening to me? I've heard so many different comments during this pandemic. People saying, well, I'm still going to do this. I can't wait till this over with so I can go get back together doing what I was doing, my celebration and different things. And they forgetting about the thing God have told them, hey, look, be still, be peaceful, don't move. But we neglect sometimes to stand still and hear the voice of God, and we start doing our own thing. But here God the Israelite was saying, well, Lord, did you bring us out here to kill us? And see, this ain't the report that they gave earlier to Moses when they brought back the good fruit and everything. But then when they got back to themselves and they tents and stuff, then they want to murmur and complain. That's the way we do with our friends that really ain't really good friends. Cause we'll call them up, and then we'll start to talk about the church people. We'll start to talk about the message. Just talk about things that we don't think is good, and we won't say it in the first place. We'll wait till later on when we all by ourselves or with certain people that are gonna agree with us, and then we'll voice our opinion. But we have to be careful what we say, and we got to be careful what we do, because God still hears us. So then, on the 28th verse, it says, where shall we go, our brethren? Our brethren have discouraged our hearts, saying, the people is greater, taller than we, the city are great, and the wall up to heaven more. We have seen the son of the Anakim there. So now, they don't throw faith out the window. They don't throw trust out the window. They don't forgot about all the other things God done brought them through. Because they said God had brought them through the bad part of the wilderness. He had brought them out of Egypt. He had provided for them. He opened up the Red Sea for them. He had given them a fire by night where they were able to see where they were going and different things. But all of a sudden, we forget about how good God really been to us. And we start to murmur and complain. We forget how much of our life that God has stuck his hand in and took care of us in situations where we got our own self in, but because of his mercy and because of his grace and kindness and how much he loves us, we still forget about it and we start to murmur and complain. And we start to put our own thoughts to it and say stuff like, okay, Lord, what you gonna do? Why you bring me up here? And different things. And we got to remember that this is a faith walk. We walk by faith and not by sight. We have to remember we gotta keep walking this walk. We have to be careful when we're saying things and when we're doing things. And then the 29th verse, I won't be before you long, hopefully. Then they said unto you, dread not, neither be afraid of them. Moses was trying to encourage them, because Moses stuck with God. Moses had his moment, he killed someone and he was out in the wilderness and he did some things, but through it all, Moses really did stick with God. He kept doing the things that God required for him to do. And he had his moments though. But there's an encouragement in that alone, because Moses went through some things. He had to face Pharaoh. He had to go in. He said stuff like, Lord, I can't speak that good, and I need help speaking and different things. But Moses still led the people out of Egypt. He still was a good leader. But look at us today sometimes. Are we still good leaders in spite of all the things that we have to face? Or do the first thing that come up on the first trial or the first tribulation, do we throw our hands up and say, why? Why do I still need to go to church? Why do I still need to praise God? Why do I still need to trust him? But see, that's an encouragement with me tonight, because as I was reading, I kept saying, Moses really did lead well, and that's the type of leader I want to be. I want to be a leader that even though I go through some trials and some troubles and tribulations, I still want to do what God, I want to know God enough. I want my relationship with God to be close enough that when he speaks, that I'm able to say, Lord, I just want to do what you would have for me to do. Am I too loud, Pastor Randall? Oh, okay. Yeah. So I just want to do what you would have me to do. So that's why, we have to stay focused on what we're saying and what we're doing and how we're doing our thing, because in this Christian walk, there are going to be trials and tribulations. The scriptures say, man born of a woman is for a few days, and those days are full of trouble. But see, we as Christians, sometimes this nowadays Christian, we don't want to face any trouble. We don't want to face any trial. We don't want to face any tribulation. And that's the same thing they was doing back then. They knew God was with them when they went through that Red Sea. They knew God opened up the whole water and different things, but they still got to this place and was still complaining. After you know, it's funny how you can have the things in your hands that bless you. They had the grapes and the thing to prove that the land was a good land. And they still would not trust God enough to say, Lord, you done showed us, you done brought us here, and you showed us how good the land is. But ain't that the way we do now? He bless us with the things that we need. He bless us with everything. We got food on our table. We got 2 cars in the driveway that we can get to where we need to get, and we still do not do what we need to do for him. So the 29th verse said, Moses said, neither be afraid. The 31st say, the Lord your God which goeth before you, he shall fight for you. And again, I want to be like Moses. I want to be able to throw my mind back, because I believe Moses was saying, I saw him fight for me. I done saw what he have done for me. So, because it's hard to tell somebody something that he will do if you ain't seen him do it yet. It's hard to tell somebody something that they can do when you ain't saw it done yet. So Moses, I believe Moses was saying, I done saw this. I know that the Lord will fight for you. He have brought you this far. And see, I come by to encourage you tonight. Sometimes we forget that he's a good fighter. Sometimes we forget that he's a good provider. Sometimes we forget that he's a strong tower. He's a bridge over troubled water. Sometimes we forget that he opened doors that other people say, oh Lord, we shut this door. You can't have this loan, or you can't have this job. But God will come along and say, no, that's my child. And he'll open that door right back up. And the person next to them say, hey, look, I'm going to give them that loan because I know something else about them. We have to remember that God is a good fighter. And Moses was trying to assure him. And that's why our relationship with God have to be at another level. We can't leave it at the same level that we had when we first came into this walk. Because if we leave it at that level, we'll never get the fullness of what God has promised us. Like he promised them this land. So they had to do something to get to this land. They had to go through some wilderness. The book says they went through the bad and the good part of the wilderness. There was some good part, and there was some terrible parts. There were some enemies along the way, and we all know that we fight our enemies along the way. We fight those things that gets in our mind early in the morning and make us feel like we don't want to talk to anybody. I ain't gonna say hello to nobody this morning. I ain't saying good morning. I ain't doing nothing. I'm going straight to my desk and I'm going to work, and I ain't gonna look at you. I ain't gonna talk to you. But don't you know that we have to get to another level where we're able to say, in spite of what I feel like, I'm still going to do the requirements that I know I need to do to be a Christian in this Christian walk. I'm still going to do the things that I need to do because it's important to God. You know, I'm all right. I can figure out things and I can help certain people, but can't nobody help you like God can help. So we have to remember that it's important to God that we move to a level in him that we know the difference between that level where we're in and we're moving to a higher level in him. We're trusting him more. We're believing in him more. We're walking more by faith and not by sight. Oh yeah, anybody can go where they can see, but can you go where you can't see and just trust God? It's a little harder work, but that's what work is all about. I don't know too much work that you do it properly that you don't get in there and really have to do something in. You know, of course, some of us have easy jobs, but it's still some work to it. You still got to know how to perform that job. You still have to know each part of that job to do it properly, to do it correctly. Because if you don't do it correctly, a lot of time it'll fall on somebody else, and we don't want it falling on somebody else. We want to be able for God to say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. I did what I supposed to do. I went where I supposed to do. I talked when I supposed to do. I prophesied when I supposed to prophesy." Ain't that right, Elder Kerry? I said what I supposed to say. Because this right here is a faith walk. And with this pandemic going on, oh yeah, we gotta walk by faith even more, because even the people in the world don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on. The bishop, the president, people don't know what's going on. So now we're walking by faith. What happened when you turn all the lights out and you really just can't see in the house? You got it, and you know you got to go to the restroom, and you know that it's a little walk away, and you don't turn out every light. All the blinds are shut. All you do is feel, and you walk by faith. You feel that wall is going to be there. You try to remember, hey, look, I got 2 doors to pass, and it's on the right. So we have other things in place that will help us, but we don't turn our lights out enough. We keep leaving our lights on so we can always see things. Every now and then, we need to turn our lights off and just walk by faith, just to see if we trust him enough to get us where we need to go to. I don't know how I got off on that. And he said, the 30th verse said, he shall fight for you. And Moses just will remind him, according to all that he did for you in Egypt before your eyes. Not that you had to think about it, or not that you had to put in your mind. He said, before your eyes, you saw what he did for you. He brought you out of Egypt, a land where you were just being enslaved. You had to wake up when they said wake up. You had to go to bed when they said go to bed. You had to work when they said work. I don't know about you, but I've been in the military. And it wasn't always good when they come in there yelling and talking about get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And it wasn't much you could say about it. You know, they even heard you, they even read your lips sometime and wanted to see, they ran right up in your face and say, what did you say? So you had to climb up out of their bed and get where you needed to be at and do what you needed to do. Well, that's the thing God is saying to us. You know, I showed you where I brought you from, the heartaches and the hardship that you was in. You saw that I brought you out of there. Moses just reminded them, these are the things that you have to put in your mind when you get to those places where you're afraid and you don't seem like you can go any further, and the coronavirus is right on the end of you, and you're like, okay, I'm scared to go in this Walmart, but I gotta go and I'm scared to do this and I'm scared to do that. But God is saying, look, you gotta walk by. I like that part about turning the lights on. I don't know how I came up with that, but I need to start doing that every now and then. Just turn the lights out in my closing my eyes and walking through by faith. You know, start to do some things that I hadn't done before. Start to go some places I hadn't gone before. Because he done told me some things and I put it on the shelf. I didn't do it because I was afraid. I'm just being honest. I was scared to do it. I was scared to move that way. I was scared to go forward with it from that. No, but this is a different day and time because the word say, if my people who are called by my name. He didn't say if the people are in the word. He said, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves. See, we don't want to humble ourselves. We don't want to come before him and admit that I messed up, God. Admit that I don't know it all, God. Admit that I'm a little scared, God, and I'm going to need you to help me walk this Christian journey. I'm going to need you to help provide for me. Oh, yeah, I got a wife, and she's real smart, and she's real good, but she can't do what God can do. There's only a limit where she can do, but you know, God has no limit. He said there's nothing too hard for God. And with man, you know, there's some things that may be impossible. With God, all things are possible. I just want to encourage you tonight that all things are possible with God. We got to get out of this little place that we in. I want to use another word, but we got to get out of this little place that we in, that we're stuck, and we don't want to open up and see what God is really showing us. Because just because we're a little bit confined to different things, it don't mean we still can't press our way. It don't mean we still can't do the thing that God needs for us to do. It don't mean that I can't tap into Pastor Dana and tap into Ella Carey and tap into Pastor Runner, call them and see how they're doing. Ask out there how you feeling today, how the boys doing, and different things. Do you need some money? Do you need some food? But we get comfortable, and every time somebody say, okay, y'all stay in, we stay in, but we shut down while we're staying in. But God still have a requirement. There's still work. There's still the kingdom that got to be performed. But we have to watch what we say and watch what we do while we perform it. So on the 30th verse, the 31st verse, it say, Moses was still talking. He would say, in the wilderness where thou hast seen how that the Lord thy God buried thee, as a man doeth bury his son. One of the other Bibles said how a man picks up their son and carried him through a time of hardship, through a time of burdens and different things. You know, we wouldn't. I see so many people sometimes nowadays. They'll drag their child. They'll be like, come on here. This child can be 1 year old or 6 months old and they learning to walk, but they won't pick them up till a certain time. But Moses was saying, do you remember how in the wilderness, how God picked you up, how God buried you, how God took care of you, how God made sure that you understood that he was your father and that you was his son. And that's the way we do our children. We make sure everything is all right with them. We make sure they kept warm. We make sure they fed and they clothed and different things. And that's what Moses was trying to reassure the people. Before you give up, while you saying these things, you got to remember what you say is important. Because when God done ordained for you to come to this land, you can't get there and start complaining about everything. You can't get to your places where God has told you to go because you done prayed at night and said, Lord, I need your help. I need a wife. And then when a woman come along to talk to you, you act like she don't look right or she don't talk right or she don't seem to be what you needed to be. And then you start to murmur and complain about God. Well, I don't think that's the one for me. But he told you that was the one. So we still have to watch what we say and what we do when it comes down to the things of God. And this really been pressing on my heart because I've been telling God, Lord, I don't want to start doing that now. I'm 57 years old. I don't want to do that stuff now. I'm tired and different things. But then I remember one of the thing we had in our life application class when he said that I am your strength. You're only limited in your strength, but I am your strength. And we have things that we can fall back on, but we refuse to fall back on them. We refuse to go and open our Bible, go and open our life application book, go and call somebody on the phone, like Dad Johnson, that will remind their son, just keep on pressing on. Just keep doing. He don't have no big words. He don't have no big thing to tell you. Most times he just encouraged me. He just said, just keep on going, man. Just keep encouraging. Just keep going on. Those simple words mean so much sometimes because you can get lost in nowadays the nowadays Christianity, the nowadays preaching, because they get so far above your head. But every now and then, you need to go back to that old place where you say, Lord, I stretch my hand to thee. No other help I know. If you withdraw your hand from thee, where will I go? Where can I go if you take your hand from me? We have to remind ourselves that God is our present help in time of trouble. When we get to a place where we just can't go no more, God is our present help. And then it say in the last part of that 31st verse, it say, in all the way that you went until you came into this place, he had provided. Moses reminded them that he had provided, he had kept them, he had brought them to this place. And now he has showed you that the land is plentiful. He has showed some of us that there's things out there that he has told us, and he has showed us how good it is for us. And we know how good it is. We sitting in places with lack, and he's showing us where it's at, what the plentiful is, what the blessing is. And we still sitting around saying, Lord, I just don't know what to do. I don't think I want to do that, Lord. I the words say in Proverbs, lean not to your own understanding, but we still put our own mind to it and say, Lord, I don't think that's for me. Some of us so naive, we can see it and we know we need it, and we'll still say, well, Lord, I don't think that's for me. I don't think that was you speaking. I don't think that was the right thing. God done told Pastor Dana to come and tell you something, and you're like, that's just Pastor Dana. Either you, Pastor. That ain't Bishop, and different things. And we still have those naive moments and stuff that we're not fully tapped into hearing what God has to say to us. But we have to remember that God don't work like we work. His ways and his thoughts are not like our thoughts. All these things popped in my head this morning because I was talking to him, and I was just riding the lawnmower, and I was just saying, Lord, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like I'm heavy burdened. I feel like it's getting to a place where things are closing in, and at that moment I heard a song on the radio, and it say, we come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in his holy word. See, we think it have to be a certain object or a certain thing that come along and make us feel all right and make us feel blessed. But every now and then, you just got to trust in the word of God. Every now and then, you just got to hold on with all your might and say, Lord, I'm not going to stop right here. I'm going to keep pressing on. Oh, yeah, the kids might be acting up, and the dog might be acting funny, and my wife and everything might be doing things. But Lord, if I know anything, I know you will provide. I know you will keep me. And then I had to fall back on that lawnmower a little bit. I lean back on the lawnmower a little bit. And sometimes all you got to do is lean back a little bit and rest in him. And as I was riding, I started to rest in him. And things became a little bit wider. Things became a little bit bigger. Those walls that were closing in seemed like they smooth right away. And I fell back, and then I remember my wife say, honey, I love you this morning before I left. And things started to just feel good to me. Sometimes you have to rest in him. Sometimes you got to know who you're resting in. That's what all Moses was saying. Can you just trust in God? Why you murmuring? Why you complaining? What's wrong with you? He done brought you out of Egypt. He done brought you through the wilderness, but you still murmuring and complaining? Are you watching what you're saying? Are you watching what you're doing? Are you still just saying, hey, look, I don't care. I'm just letting my mouth go. Remember when you was a child and sometimes your mom said, they wouldn't say be quiet. They would say, shut up. You're talking too much. Shut up. You're saying too much stuff. You don't know what you're talking about? Be quiet. There's time when you don't know. You haven't decided to move to that level in him. You haven't decided to do what you need to do in him. So sometimes you're misjudging who God really is. You're not really filling in those places when he said you need to fill in with fasting and praying and trusting him. And sometimes we miss that gap where he's saying, I need you to fill in right here so you'll know when those situations come and those times come that you really can trust me when you're in a pressure situation. And we all in some pressure situations now because we don't know what COVID-19 is going to do tomorrow. We don't know what COVID-19 is going to do next week because we're still under leadership of human beings. We're still under leadership of people, mayors and governors and presidents making decisions. So we don't really know what's tomorrow going to hold for us. They may wake up tomorrow and say, everybody go do this. See what I'm saying? We have to know there's a place that we have to turn our lights out and walk it by faith and trust God enough to get there. Then the 32nd verse say, yeah, these things you did not believe the Lord. And all these things that he done, you still didn't believe in him. 33 said, who went in the way before you to search you out a place to pitch your tent? And in fire by night to show you by what way you should go in a cloud day. All those things he done for you. Place to put your head, a place to stop and rest from the journey, a different thing. Still, Moses was still trying to get them to see. It's still the same God. We ain't changed the character of this person. He's still the same God. We ain't went to a new place, a new person. This is still the same God that brought you out of Egypt. The same God that brought you across the Red Sea. The same God that kept you and made a way for you. The old saints used to say, who would serve a God like this? Who would serve a God like this that make ways out of no way? That provides with you in your darkest hour. I was in a club one night and the bullets started flying and different things. And I came out of the club. I was naive, young. And I came out of the club and I was safe and everything. And I was ready to go back in and start dancing again. When all the stuff stopped and everything. But I didn't realize that it could have been me. That God was having mercy and grace for me. But as I got older, I think back on those things, Fernando, Brother Mike. I think back on those things and I think, Lord, you done kept me so many times. You done brought me so many times. You done did so many things for me. And I didn't even pay attention to it. I didn't even tell God, thank you for saving me that night. Because that could have been me. And that's all Moses was trying to get them to see. You got to be grateful. Why you're not grateful? What you murmuring and complaining about? You made it here. You ain't even in Egypt being no slave no more. What you complaining about? What we fuss about sometimes? Sometimes we fuss because one of our cars acting up and we want to throw stuff around. We want to just tell everybody, shut up, don't talk to me and different things. And we still got 2 more cars outside we can drive. What we complaining about? What's wrong with you? I was thinking today how God give us a chance. He give us chance after chance. He said, you don't have to worry about that right now. You can put that to the side and work on this for a minute. And I'm all concerned about this over here. And God said, no, that's okay right now. You're all right. You got time to work on this. And then sometimes when you go back to that thing, your mind done cleared up and now you can get it done. You don't even have to struggle with it no more because we didn't know that God was working out something different for us by placing us somewhere different. Sometimes he'll be just moving you because he knows your heart. He knows what it really takes to get that done over there, but he'll move you to another place and say, okay, I'll wait till he kind of settles down and gets smoothed out with this, and then I'll allow him to go back and get it complete. That's what kind of God we serve. 34. And the Lord heard the voice of your words and was wroth and swore, saying, surely there shall not one of these men of this evil generation see that good land which I swear and give unto your father. I looked up rock, and it say full of wrath and anger. This 34 said the Lord heard when you was in your tent murmuring. We got to watch what we say and watch what we do. Because a lot of time, it wasn't your mama calling you. It was God calling you. A lot of times, it wasn't Uncle Jim that called you. You do your stuff according to Uncle Jim's stuff. But God had put a different requirement on you. God had said, I needed you not to go. But you went by the advice of Uncle Jim. And you went anyway. You complained anyway. You fussed anyway. And God is saying, I heard you when you were complaining. And it made me mad. My dad used to say, okay, hard head make a soft behind, but I ain't gonna mess with your behind. I'm gonna let you live with the consequences that your hard head gonna get you in. Sometimes we have to live with the consequences that our mouth will get us in, that our actions get us in. And that's all God was saying, well, you know, made me mad. Even though I love you, you're my people and everything. Yeah, you're my people. But guess what? You ain't gonna get to go in. It's something when God tell us, oh, I ain't gonna let the chair hold you up this time. I'm gonna pull the chair right up and underneath you. I'm gonna let you bump your head. I'm gonna let you really go through something. You think you're going through something? Let me let you really go through something. Let me really take my love and let me really take my face away from you. I love you, but let me take my face away from you. Let me turn my face from you, and let's see how far you really get without me. Let me see what you really can do if I allow your arms and legs not to be there. Let me see what you really can do if I don't stop that car in the middle of that red light and that person running that red light. See, we have to remember that we have to watch what we say and what we do when God has given us a command. When God has ordained us to do something, when God has orchestrated for us to be going this way, and we decided with our bachelor's degree and our PhD that we need to go that way because the numbers add up when we put the numbers in and such and such. But you know, God don't work off numbers. God don't work off our time. God don't work off the things we work off. So we can add it up any way we want to. And it might seem like it's right. 2 + 2 might be 4 to you on that side, but go try it on God's side. He can use 5 and 6 and come out to be 4. We have to know that God is way more powerful than anything we can even do. But God was mad and upset. And he said, I swore these to your fathers. But guess what? I'm God. Just because I told them you were going to do, don't mean I can't change my mind. The bottom line is, we play with God too much. Because just because he say, I love you and I'll be there for you, don't mean we can't make him mad and angry. Don't mean we might not be talking too much, or we might not be and when I'm talking about talking too much, I'm talking about when God done told you something, and God done something for you, and God done ordained certain things, and then we talk against it. Or we feel like, hey, look, I don't want to do that because I just don't feel like doing it. Uh-oh, that sounds like a nerve there. Because a lot of time, a lot of people, a lot of church people, it ain't because they don't feel well. It ain't because they're at work. It ain't because God hadn't been good to them. A lot of time we just say, okay, I just don't feel like doing it tonight. I don't feel like going with them tonight. I don't feel like being there tonight. And we saying it to ourselves. But don't you know God still hears us? God still can hear when you saying certain things under your breath. He's an all-knowing God. He's an all-seeing God. I was telling, I was sharing with Dad about the Walmart. I was telling him, Lord, I shouldn't have parked right here, Dad. I shouldn't have parked close to this door. I should have parked on the other end, so because I was saying stuff in my mind. What's wrong with her? Why she got on there? I was saying, won't he pull his pants up and do? I was just saying stuff, and I had to come to myself and say, okay, I'm the one parked right here. I need to move my own self out of the way. Let me move myself out of the picture so I won't be saying this thing. Let me put up some parameters and different things to help keep me inside this. Okay, well, one more. And he said, surely there shall not one of these men of this evil generation see that good land. And he said, good land. And he said, so Caleb, the son of Jupiter, he shall see it, and to him will I give the land that he had trod upon to his children, because he wholly followed the Lord, completely followed the Lord, wholly, a whole thing. He took it all. He didn't just take the half of it. He didn't just take the good part. He didn't just take the part that he liked. He took the whole thing. He trusted him through the whole matter and different things. And that's where we got to get to a place where we trust him through the whole matter. And also the Lord will angry with me. On 37 say, also the Lord will angry with me for your sake, saying, thou should not go in thither. Which he told Moses. Even you, Moses. Sometimes we can be the leader, and we can be doing something good. But because there was a time when we did not do what God told us to do, we did something what we felt like doing. When Moses struck that rock, that was being disobedient to God. So we have to watch what we do and watch what we say. See, Moses stepped out of his element of leadership and became what he wanted to be. In other words, he stepped in God's place and he decided, I'll strike this rock because I'm mad. Because these people don't deserve all this. And God said, even you, Moses, don't get to go. I used to always hear him say, well done. I just want to hear him say, well done. And so many of us just take that for granted. But how many of you really just want to hear him say, well done, good and faithful servant? Because for him to say, well done, we're going to have to go through some things. We're going to have to be quiet at some time when we want to say some things about some people or do some things that we want to do. And we're going to have to follow what God has instructed for us to do. And then the 39 say, even the little ones that don't know right and wrong, they will be able to go. But the rest of you, the 41st say, but as for you, turn you and take your journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. The rest of you that wanted to be all murmuring in the tent, thinking I couldn't hear you, you take your journey and go back. You know how far you had came just to be told, now you turn and go back. That's why the old saint said, I just want to hear him say, well done. I don't want him to say, depart from me, you work of iniquity. I won't hear him say, well done. And the word of the Lord is blessed and holy. Thank y'all for listening on tonight.